Okay, so you're probably like seeing pumpkins everywhere. And that fall crispness is definitely in the air. But before you put away all your gardening stuff, your gardening season, it's not over yet. Not even close.
Yeah, you know how they say don't put away the swim trunks just yet.
Yeah.
Same goes for, your gardening gloves.
It's true. And to help us really make the most of fall gardening, especially for those of you in Zone 7 through 9, we're diving into an article from Sage's Acre today.
Oh, I love that blog.
Right. It's written by this, he describes himself as a landscaper, survivalist, craftsman, chef, naturalist. So naturally, his name is Sage.
Well, he's definitely got the right name.
Right. Okay, so before we get into Sage's fall gardening wisdom, I want to make sure we're all on the same page about those USDA zones, those numbers you see on all the seed packets.
Yeah, what do they even mean?
Basically, they tell you how cold your winters get, how low can you go.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So this deep dive, it's all about zones 7 through 9, which is a pretty big chunk of, the southern U.S.
Right. Okay.
And Sage, he really stresses knowing your first frost date. He's like, this is crucial, folks.
And that's different everywhere, right?
Exactly. Even within a zone, your frost date, it can be off by weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's you could have different micro seasons going on.
Wild.
Totally. Okay, so are you ready to dig into Sage's advice on what to plant in the fall?
Hit me with it. I'm ready for some fall garden inspiration.
Okay, so forget your typical, supermarket produce.
Yeah.
Fall is the time to get a little adventurous.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Right. So Sage has us thinking outside the salad bowl, I guess you could say. He's got some unique picks for fall veggies that really caught my eye.
All right, lay it on me. What's growing in Sage's fall garden?
Get this bok choy. Apparently it loves this time of year.
Oh, yeah, bok choy's great.
And mesclun. Those fancy salad mixes.
Yeah.
Turns out fall is their jam. No more sad wilty lettuce.
Right. The struggle is real in the summer.
Tell me about it. But wait, there's more. Sage also recommends mustard greens.
Oh, I love those. They've got that nice peppery bite.
Right. I've been meaning to try growing them. And don't think it's all leafy greens either. You can totally do root veggies in the fall too.
Root veggies are the best.
Yes.
So hearty.
I know. I'm already rethinking my whole fall garden plan now.
Me?
Okay, but it gets even better. Don't forget about flowers. You can keep that summer color going strong well into autumn.
Oh, absolutely. Flowers are essential.
I agree. Zinnias are a personal fave. They just scream late summer vibes.
They do. And asters. They're like little bursts of sunshine.
So true. But okay, Sage had one flower suggestion that totally surprised me.
What's that?
Sunflowers.
Wait, sunflowers in the fall? I thought those were a summer thing.
Right, me too. But Sage says with the right variety and timing, you can actually get a second bloom in the fall.
Whoa, that's incredible.
Right. Who knew? Okay, so how do we make this happen? What kind of sunflowers are we talking?
Well, that's where the 65-day rule comes in.
65-day rule. Tell me more. It's all about choosing varieties that can, do their thing quickly enough. They've got to bloom or mature in 65 days or less before that first frost shows up.
Ah, so it's like a race against time.
Exactly. And the 65 days is really the minimum, right? Sage actually mentioned some places, if you're in a warm part of your zone, you might even have closer to 80 days.
Wow, that's helpful to know. I'm already getting competitive about this, and we haven't even gotten to the planting part.
I know. This is why I love these deep dives, always learning something new.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got all these amazing fall veggies and flowers on our minds. But there's one huge thing that changes as we get into fall that we really need to talk about.
It's gotta be the sun, right?
You got it. The sun is definitely on a different schedule now.
Yeah, it's kind of easy to forget, when you're admiring the fall foliage and all. But yeah, that sun is not what it used to be.
Right. And Sage, he actually warns against, relying on those same prime sunspots you used in the summer. He's like, your fall crops, they might need a new game plan.
Interesting. Why is that? Does the sun, literally get weaker this time of year?
Well, not weaker, but the angle changes.
Oh, right. The Earth's tilt and all that.
Exactly. So because of that whole tilt thing, the sun's rays, they're hitting us less directly.
Makes sense.
So you get longer shadows.
Oh.
And less of that, really intense light our summer gardens love.
So even if my tomato patch, still technically gets a lot of daylight, the actual power of that sunlight isn't the same.
Exactly. Sage is really big on this point. He says, aim for 6 to 7 hours of direct sunlight for your fall garden. And he even compares that to 4 to 5 hours of that blazing summer sun.
Wow. That's a significant difference.
Right. Okay, so this is making me think about those shady spots in my yard.
Yeah.
I've got this, like, massive oak tree.
Oh, I love a good oak tree.
It's beautiful,
Yeah.
but it blocks so much sun. Does Sage have any, like, workarounds for shady situations like mine?
He does. He's a big fan of getting strategic with your pots. Like if you've got a south-facing wall,
Okay.
especially if it's made of like brick or something that absorbs heat, that can be a game changer for your plants.
It's like giving them their own personal sunbathing spot. I love that image.
Right. A little patio for your plants to soak up those rays.
I love it. Okay, so we've scattered out the perfect sunny spots for fall. Now it's time to actually, like, prep those beds. What does Sage recommend?
He's got a whole routine, and some of it honestly surprised me.
Okay, hit me with it. I'm ready for Sage's wisdom.
So first things first, he's all about a good fall cleanup. We're
Right.
talking like removing any old supports you've got,
Yep.
trellises, those tomato cages that have seen better days. Time to declutter.
Out with the old, in with the new. I love a good refresh, even in the garden.
Me too. And while you're at it, gather up all those like spent plants, you know?
Yeah, yes.
The ones that are like, done, toss those in the compost bin.
Okay, makes sense.
But, and this is where it gets a little unexpected, don't pull up the roots.
Wait, what? Really? I always yank those things out.
Right. That's what I thought too. It feels almost wrong. But Sage makes a really good point about leaving those roots in the ground.
Okay, so why is leaving the roots better than, like, composting them?
Think of it this way. Roots, they're like these little nutrient time capsules.
Ah.
As they break down in the soil, they release all those good nutrients, which basically gives your next round of plants a head start.
So it's like free fertilizer.
Exactly. And he's really keen on leaving legume roots, specifically, like beans, peas.
Oh, yeah, those nitrogen-fixing superstars.
Right. So instead of throwing away all that good nitrogen, you're recycling it right back into your garden.
That's so smart. I am definitely leaving my legume roots from now on.
Yes. Do it. Just like snip them at the base, let nature do its thing.
Easy enough.
Hmm.
Okay, so I've left the roots. What else does Sage recommend for prepping those beds?
Well, if it was an active bed during the summer, he's a big fan of adding some amendments, you know, just to replenish those nutrients.
Makes sense. What kind of amendments are we talking about?
Composted chicken manure is his top choice.
Chicken manure. Okay, I've got to admit, that's not the first thing that comes to mind when I think fall garden.
It's not glamorous, but it's effective.
Okay, so, like, say I don't have a flock of chickens hanging around.
Which, fair enough.
Any good compost will do.
Yep. Well-rotted manure, even organic fertilizer, those all work too. The important thing is just to give that soil a nice nutrient boost before you plant.
What's like a spa day for your garden?
Right. Okay, and to top it all off, literally, Sage is a huge mulch advocate.
Mulch. I love a good layer of
He
mulch.
does it.
But what's so special about mulching in the fall? I usually do it in the spring.
Well, think of it like you're tucking your garden in for the winter.
Ah.
Right. That layer of mulch, Sage recommends using fallen leaves, by the way.
Oh, even better. Free mulch.
Exactly. So those leaves, they help insulate the soil, keep it all nice and warm, and that protects your plant roots from those temperature swings we were talking about earlier. Plus, bonus points. As the mulch breaks down, it adds even more delicious organic matter to the soil.
Like a win-win-win situation.
Exactly.
Mulch.
I love it.
Superhero of the fall garden. Okay, so we prepped our beds. We've got our mulch game strong. But even in the fall, there are still challenges, right? What about pests and diseases? So pests and diseases, they don't exactly take a fall vacation, do they?
I wish. But, you know, the good news is, Sage says you do get a little bit of a break from those summer bugs, at least in many areas.
Okay, well, that's something. Gives us time to focus on the new, like, fall foes, right?
Right. Sage says, watch out for rodents and birds.
Oh, yeah, those guys.
They see all our hard work, our beautiful fall gardens, and they're like, free buffet.
It's true. They can really do some damage if you're not careful.
Oh, yeah. But Sage, he's got a trick up his sleeve, I guess you could say.
Ooh, I love a good garden trick.
Okay, so get this hot pepper tea.
Wait, like the kind I drink when I'm feeling sick?
Yep. Apparently rodents, they do not like it one bit. A little spritz of that stuff around your plants and they'll steer clear.
That's amazing. I would not have thought of that. So it's like, this garden is too spicy for me. I love it. Okay, but what about birds? I don't think they're as bothered by a little heat.
Yeah, good point. Birds, they're a different story. For them, Sage recommends a two-pronged approach.
Okay, lay it on me.
So first, you want some physical deterrents.
Got it.
Like those shiny objects, you know?
Oh, yeah, like those fake owls you see in gardens.
Exactly. Or those pinwheels that spin in the wind. Anything to make them think twice about landing.
Right, make it less appealing for them to hang out.
Yep. But here's the second prong, and this is key. Sage says, move those deterrents around every few days.
So they don't get used to it. Keep them guessing.
Exactly.
I like it. It's like a little game of bird brain chess. Okay, so we've tackled the furry and feathered friends, but Sage also mentioned some unique disease challenges in the fall. Specifically, fusarium and rust.
Oh yeah, those can be tricky.
They sound pretty intense. How do I even know if I have them in my garden?
Good question. So fusarium, it's a fungus, and it can cause wilting. You might notice your plants are, like, drooping, even if the soil's moist.
Okay, so it's not just a watering issue.
Right. Rust, on the other hand, that one's a little more obvious. You'll literally see, like, rust-colored spots on the leaves.
Okay, so not exactly subtle then. Are these things treatable?
Fusarium can be managed, thankfully.
Oh, good.
Sage, he's all about using what you've got, and he says baking soda can really help.
Wait, baking soda, like the stuff in my pantry?
Yep, the very same. Sprinkle some around the base of your plants. It disrupts the fungus.
Baking soda. Is there anything it can't do?
Right, a true multitasker. Rust, though, that one's trickier. Even organic controls, he says they're not always that effective.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so Sage's best advice for rust is to remove and destroy any infected leaves right away.
Okay, so it's a quarantine situation. Better safe than sorry. Okay, so we've covered pests, we've covered diseases, but there's like one more big one looming, especially as we get further into fall. Frost.
Ah, yes, frost, the silent threat to a thriving fall garden.
It's true. I've lost my fair share of plants to an unexpected frost.
Oh, it happens to the best of us. But remember all that talk about mulch being like a cozy blanket?
Yeah.
Well, it really comes in handy here. That layer of insulation, it helps protect those roots from frost damage.
So my mulch is doing double duty, keeping things warm and deterring pests. It's an overachiever. But what about those like really cold nights? Is mulch enough then?
That's a good question. For your more tender plants, like say your lettuce or your spinach, you might need to bring in some reinforcements.
Okay, what does Sage recommend?
He's a big fan of row covers, especially when you're dealing with early frosts in the season. Those can be lifesavers.
Oh, row covers. So those are like those, what do you call them? Those mini greenhouses.
Yeah, like those hoop houses.
Yes!
Exactly. They create a nice little warm bubble around your plants.
I love those.
Yeah.
And you can even just use like old sheets or blankets, right? In a pinch.
Exactly. Whatever you've got.
So cozy.
Yeah.
Tuck them in for the night.
Right. It's like a little slumber party for your plants.
I love it. You know what's interesting? Sage mentioned that in some of those warmer zones, like 8A and 9, you can actually grow certain crops throughout the winter.
Get out. Really?
Yeah. He was talking about using techniques like low tunnels. Remember those hoop houses we were just talking about?
Yeah.
So he uses the example of San Diego County. He says you see low tunnels everywhere there, even in December and January.
No way. So it really is possible to have a year-round garden in some places.
Apparently so.
That's amazing.
Right. It just goes to show you with a little ingenuity and some well-placed hoops and plastic sheeting, you really can extend your harvest.
That's so inspiring. I love it.
Me too. Well, this has been an incredible deep dive into the world of fall gardening. So much great information from Sage.
He's the best.
He is. Okay, so to recap for everyone listening, fall gardening, it's totally doable, even in zones that get frost. We just need to be mindful of that first frost date, right? Choose the right plants, and then make sure they're getting enough of that good old direct sunlight, even as the days get shorter.
And don't forget about those roots. Leave them in the ground. It's free fertilizer.
It's true. And who knew that baking soda could be a gardener's secret weapon?
Right.
Okay, and even though those summer insects might be taking a break, we've got to watch out for those hungry rodents and birds.
They're always lurking.
Always. And of course, we can't forget about mulch.
Mulch is a gardener's best friend.
It's true. Especially in the fall.
It's like a warm hug for your garden beds.
Exactly. Okay, before we wrap up completely, we want to leave you with a final thought. Something to, ponder as you head out into your own garden this fall.
Yes. You know, this whole deep dive, it got me thinking about microclimates.
Microclimates.
Yeah, just because something works in Sage's garden doesn't mean it'll be exactly the same in your yard.
Right, everyone's garden is different.
Exactly. So pay attention to those subtle variations in your own space.
Ooh, I like that. Become a microclimate detective.
Yes. You might have a warm, sunny corner that's perfect for extending the season, or a shady spot that's ideal for those cool weather crops. You never know.
So much to discover.
Exactly. Get out there, observe, experiment, and most importantly, enjoy the magic of fall gardening.
Yes. And who knows, you might just discover your new favorite vegetable or flower along the way. Happy gardening, everyone.
Help a guy with a poultry problem out. Like and subscribe by clicking on a chicken now. One of these. Or maybe a duck.